Welcome back. We are now on page 176 of PowerPoint Chapter 3. Number 1, it says we're going to animate an illustration using an entrance effect. So it's the way something comes onto the page when the slide comes into view. So the first thing we're going to do is click on slide 2. And then we're going to select the car clip, the one we put together, so cute. And then we're going to click on the animations ribbon, so come up, click on animations. Then we're going to choose the fly in animation, so that's going to be the 4th animation. And it shows you how it's going to fly up as it is set right now. Now you can change the way these come in, and we are going to do that on page 177. So we are going to make sure that our car is still selected. Notice that right now we have a number 1. That shows that this is going to come in first on our animations. Now we want to click Effect Options, so slide back up to your animations toolbar. Notice to the right, the very last thing in your animations bank, it has Effect Options. So click on the down arrow and notice that these are all the different things, or the ways that this can come in. In the book on number 2, it wants you to choose from top left. So choose from top left, click, and notice now it comes down in a diagonal from the top left and down to our ending point. And then we're going to use an emphasis effect. Notice that our car is still selected, and we're going to choose the Add Animation button. Now that is to the right of the effect options that we just used. So Add Animation, so you can do more cool things here. And you could waste a lot of time and play all kinds of fun games. Just remember, when you're doing this for real in real life, you use this selectively like a spice. You're not going to fill the entire dish with salt. You're going to use just a little bit to add interest and flavor. So don't go crazy with it, and don't choose something different for every slide, and don't even put it on every slide. But it is cool and unique, and it can grab attention. So on page 178, number 2, where it says to click, oops, my bad, I jumped. On page 177, it says to choose a spin. So we're going to choose a spin. And so our car is going to spin. And then we're going to go down to More Emphasis Effects. So click on Add Animation. Slide down to More Emphasis Effects. And you can see all kinds: grow, shrink, spin, transparency, pulse, teeter. So cool. So on PowerPoint page 178, go ahead and choose teeter. Cool. And then say OK. Alright. Now we have one extra. So I'm going to click on this number 2, where it's just a spin, because the teeter is what we really wanted. So we're going to click on that number 2, and you can hit delete. And so now all you have is your teeter. Cool? Excellent. Now on page 178, it says to animate an illustration using the exit effect. So once again, we're going to make sure that our car is selected, and we're going to the Add Animation, and we're going to go down to the Exit Effects, and then we're going to choose a fly out. So here, exit effects, fly out. Okay, so it's going to fly out, and then we're going to click on the effect options button. So you might need to select your car, and you want to go to select to effect options. So let's make sure our number is selected. Here is our effect options. Click on the down arrow and choose to bottom right. So slide down and choose to bottom right. And there it goes. So it's going out the opposite direction of the way that it came in. Now to preview the animation sequence to see what it looks like when it actually comes on, all you have to do is slide up to the top left hand, the very first button on the animation screen, and click on preview, and click on preview, and teeter, and off we go. So cute. Alright, and then hit save. Now on page 180 at the bottom, we can actually put timing to how fast or how slow, or specific seconds, durations, delays, so much so we can add to this. So we're going to click on the tag number 1. Then you want to click on the start arrow, which is up here to the right, start, and notice right now it says on click. So click on the down arrow there. And you want to click on after previous. Alright, so that means that it's going to come in after the previous thing, which is the slide. Tap or click the duration arrow. So this is the duration. It's right underneath the start arrow, and this is how long it's going to take to do it. And we want to increase the time to 2 full seconds. So you can click on the up arrow, or you can just type the 2, whatever makes you happy. And then click the preview button to view the animation. So hit preview, and there you go. So make sure that the 1 is selected. Alright, so now you want to make sure that the 1 is selected. We're going to set a delay so that it sits there a little while before it goes off. To do that, the 1 is selected, and we'll go to delay, and then we're going to increase this to 4 seconds, which is a lot. So yeah, I don't usually sit on a slide that long, unless of course you're doing a long talk. So now we're going to hit preview, and it comes on, it waits, it teeters, and now it's gone. So there you go. Kind of cute. It's a very long delay though. So go ahead and hit save, because that's always a smart thing to do. And now we want to modify emphasis and exit timings. So it says tap or click on the tag number 1. So make sure that your 1 is selected. Then go to the start arrow. Right now it says on click, and choose after previous. And now change the duration several times, and you're going to change that to 3 seconds. Okay. Now tap or click the tag number 1. So notice that the tags have changed, right? Which now represents the exit effect. And you're going to go to the start arrow and tap or click after previous. So now all 3 effects are stacked on top of each other, but each one has the after previous. So we're going to tap or click the duration arrow several times to increase that to 4 seconds. This is a very, very, very long animation. Alright. And now we're going to preview the slide to animation. Are you ready? And we come in. And we teeter. And We wait. And now we're gone. That's a little better than it was before, right? Next, on page 183, we want to animate content placeholders. So that means that these things, anything that holds text, those are content placeholders. So we want to make sure we're on slide 2, and we want to select the content placeholder that has our bulleted list in it. So notice that I clicked inside of it once. It just makes it easier. And now I'm going to click on the holder placeholder itself. So the dotted line becomes a solid line when the placeholder is selected, and you also get your sizing handles. All right. With that, we're going to choose the more. So we have the more options in the animation group. And on page 184, we want to choose the fade entrance effect. So go to entrance and choose fade. So it's going to come in. Very cool, right? And then we want to change the start option to with previous. So it's going to come in with the slide. And then change the duration to 2 seconds. Wow. Now if you were talking, that might be kind of cool. And if this was a lot of pictures, that would be kind of cool, but it's really a lot. Alright, and then on number 4 says, click the Add Animation button. So we're going to click on Add Animation. And then we're going to go to the Font Color Emphasis. So slide down to Font Color Emphasis. Here we go, Emphasis, Font Color. So it's going to change the colors of the font, obviously. And then change the start option to after previous. So we're doing some cool stuff, a whole lot of cool stuff to one thing. Choose after previous. And now preview your slide. So click on preview. And here we go. Here comes our car. And we're teetering. And we're sitting there. And now comes our stuff. Alright. And our color change, which is a very cool effect. Just remember, use it as a spice, not an all the time thing or a lot of it kind of thing. Alright, so number 5 on page 184 says click the Add Animation button again. So add animation. We're adding a lot of animation. Now click the underline emphasis animation effect. So go to emphasis and go to the use underline. So click on underline. Wow, we are doing way too much to this, but aren't you glad you're learning how? Now change the start option to with previous. So instead of after previous, we're going to choose with previous. Alright, and save that. And we're not going to watch it again. I think you have the idea. On page 185, it talks about changing the theme and variant on one slide, not all of them, just one. This is unusual. I would not advertise. Some people have so much fun playing with their slides that they make each one different. Remember, that is not good graphic design. Sometimes you might need to change one, so we're going to learn how, but I'm telling you, for it to look professional, do not change every slide so that they all look different. That needs to have some continuity, or you'll lose your audience. So with that being said, on page 185, number 1, with slide 2 displayed, we want to go to the Design tab. Click on Design. And then click on the More button in the Themes. Number 2 says to right-click the Retrospect theme. So retrospect, I think, is that one. Yes, retrospect. And notice that it says retrospect. So we are going to right click the retrospect theme, and we get our shortcut menu, and we're going to apply to selected slides. So if we wanted to apply this to all of our slides, we could. If we wanted to apply it to like 4 slides, we could select the 4 slides and then do that. So you could do 1 or 2 or however many you want, or all of them. All right. Now you want to right click the gray variant. So here's your variance here, and you want to right click that to give you the shortcut menu there. And once again, we're going to choose apply to selected slides, and since 2 is the only one we have selected, it's only going to do this to 2. Okay. On page 187, it says to change the theme colors. So on page 187, number 1, you want to go to the More button on the Variants group. So here's our variants. Click on the More button. And now we have our theme colors. And select that. And number 2 at the bottom says tap or click the red in the gallery. So we're going to, whoops, you have to kind of hold it. So slide over and slide down. And now we have our red variant. Okay, our gray variant with a red color. All right. And then on page 188, that was pretty easy. On page 188, it says to run a slideshow with media. So save and save often. Let's go ahead and save, or Control S works too. And page 188, it says to click the Start from Beginning button to display the title slide. So the Start from Beginning button, if we go to slideshow, and here we go from beginning, that automatically jumps to the very first one. Notice that it's going to keep going until we move on to the next slide. So there's several different ways you can move to the next slide. You can hit your right arrow button, your down arrow button, your space bar. You can click the mouse. You can, if your mouse has a roller ball on it, you can do that. So there are a ton of ways to move this slide. So whatever makes you happy, move to the next slide. I'm going to hit the space bar this time. The first time I hit my right arrow, and this next one I'm going to hit my space bar. Let's go ahead and let our beautiful animations for our text. It is cool. The underline was a little bit too much. Okay, I'm going to hit the space bar. Another way to move it. Notice that it starts immediately. I didn't have to do anything, and it also went to full screen immediately. So when I grade this, I'm going to look for this. Okay, and then to end the show, I'm going to hit the space bar. And notice the end of the slideshow, click to exit. So I can click, or I can hit escape, or whatever makes you happy. Alright, now I'm going to hit save because it's always good. Now it tells you to preview and print a handout. I don't actually want you to print, but I want you to know how to print, because this is very important with PowerPoint, especially if you're using it to do lectures or for people to take notes or whatever you need to use, or for yourself when you're doing a lecture. Okay, they all work. So click on the file and then click on print, and then you can click on the previous page here. Notice how you can navigate through your PowerPoint from here, and then it says click on full page slides. That's this one right here. Now this is what I call, if you were to print this, I would send it to printer, number one, because it's going to use up every last drop of colored ink you have. I call this wallpaper. It's great if you're doing positive thinking notes, or if you need to have a big sheet size of listing of what to do, but that is a lot of color if you do it on accident. So be careful about it being on full page slides. So on the next page, page 189, it says click to slides in the handouts area. So we're going to come down here. And the cool thing about the 2 slides is that it puts 2 on each page. So that's kind of nice. And just so you know, my personal favorite, I'll give you my logic behind these. If I'm doing a lecture where I want people to take notes, the 3 slides is my favorite because they can take notes right here. They have the slides for those people who are visual, so when they leave you, they'll have a picture of the slide, so they'll have all your information as well as their notes. And that is awesome. If I see all my slides and everything I have and I want to print it out on a piece of paper, I like the 9 slides. So if I had a huge PowerPoint, I could have this sheet right here would have 9 slides all on this one sheet. So it's really easy to see everything you have. Another thing that's kind of cool is that if you're giving a lecture, the notes pages right here is awesome. So whatever notes you've typed underneath in the notes section would show up here. So if you're giving a lecture, it's really handy so you remember what to say, especially those of us who get nervous. That way, if you get nervous, you still have your notes and you have which slide it goes to. It's also good if something goes wrong with your PowerPoint and you can tell them where to go to get started back up. And then, of course, my last favorite is the outline. It shows everything you've typed, and if you're one of those people who are really good talking from an outline, there is your outline. So lots of cool opportunities here, but we're not actually going to print. So we're going to skip to page 191, which says to save the presentation. So I think y'all know how to save, but we'll go ahead and do what they say. We're going to click back, click on save, which I'm sure you have done 9 million times, and we are finished. I hope you enjoyed PowerPoint. Now, this is quite possible going to be too big to upload on Blackboard. If it is, then you need to write me a note on Blackboard and say that you have uploaded it in Dropbox. Alright? There are a couple of tricks that you can do to make it a little smaller, and let me show you that real quick. This is not in your book. If you select a picture in your PowerPoint and then you go to, let me show you a picture that actually works. Let's try that motorcycle. Yes. So if y'all will go to slide 2, click on this right motorcycle picture. Choose compress pictures, and you get to choose, since this is not to be shown in a classroom or a gym or anything big, we can make it as small as we possibly can so that you can upload it on Blackboard, and that makes life easier for you and me. Notice that where it says apply only this picture, I'm going to deselect, take the check mark out of that so that it is applied to the entire show. Anything that can compress, it will do that. Alright, notice that I've chosen email 96 ppi. 96 is smaller than this 220 or the 150, right? So the smallest one that you can use, document resolution, is the biggest. Alright, email 96 ppi is the smallest one, and it's good for email. It's not good for showing it in front of a lot of people. Your pictures will pixelate, they won't be very good. Alright, so I'm going to say OK. Now, that should make it small enough to upload it on Blackboard, but if it does not, then you need to use a Dropbox. And I have shown you how to do that on your Blackboard. If you go to Blackboard, there are directions on how to open or start a Dropbox file, and then make sure, if you use Dropbox, make sure that in Blackboard you put in the text that say I have uploaded it to Dropbox and I have shared it with you. Alright, so make sure that when you upload it to Dropbox, you then share the file with me at dsmith@alvincollege.edu. Okay? Alright, have a lot of fun with that.